Hey there, friends. Welcome to my Animal Crossing island. Today, we're diving into something a little different. A quick tour through the world of biology. We'll also cover some new trends and how biology is being taught. So grab your net, shovel, or maybe even a microscope, and let's get started. So, what is biology all about? Biology is the study of life, from the tiniest bacteria to the largest ecosystems, and everything in between. In high school biology, you get to learn about the basics of cells, genetics, evolution, ecology, and much more. You'll go from learning about tiny cellular structures to understanding how entire ecosystems work together. Let's go a little bit more in depth. One of the first things biology students learn about is the cell, the basic building block of all life. It's like how each island in Animal Crossing is made up of lots of little details. The cell has different parts, like the nucleus and mitochondria, that all work together to keep life going. Next, we explore genetics, which is like the game's character customization, only it happens in real life. Genetics explains why we inherit certain traits from our parents, like eye color, for example. In the game, I can change it from blue to green and back to brown. It also explains hair type. I can have really curly hair or really straight hair or even wavy hair. Genetics is what changes all of our traits. It can even change the patterns on a butterfly's wings. Learning about genetics can help us understand more about ourselves, our pets, and even wild animals. Then we have ecology, the study of how living things interact with their environment. Just like how our island has different areas for bugs, fish, and plants, in ecology, we learn how these living things rely on each other. For instance, plants produce oxygen, animals depend on plants for food, and insects pollinate flowers. It's all connected. So, what's new in biology these days? There are a few exciting trends shaking things up. Why don't we take a look? First, there's game-based learning. Educators are using games to make learning more interactive. Imagine a game where you can simulate natural selection or build your own ecosystem. Games help students visualize complex biology topics, making them easier to understand and way more fun. Another big trend is hands-on inquiry-based learning. Instead of just reading from a textbook, students are encouraged to do experiments, ask questions, and even create their own investigations. Think of it as being the scientist of your own biology journey. Now here's where things get really interesting. High school biology isn't just about learning facts. It's also about thinking critically and discussing big questions. As science continues to innovate, it opens up important conversations about ethics in the classroom. Let's take a closer look. For example, take gene editing technologies like CRISPR, CRISPR. Scientists now have tools to change the DNA of plants, animals, and even humans. In class, students might discuss questions like, should we use gene editing to cure diseases? Or is it ethical to change the genetics of another organism? These discussions help students understand not just what we can do with science, but also what we should do. And here's something really important. Multilingual and culturally relevant teaching, high school biology is increasingly taught in ways that are meaningful to students' diverse backgrounds and languages. That way, more students feel connected to what they're learning, and everyone has a chance to see themselves as a scientist. Biology used to be all about memorizing facts, dissecting frogs, and maybe a few field trips. But times have changed. Let's take a look at 3 big trends that are transforming the way students and teachers approach biology today, and the huge impact these could have on the classroom. First up, we have the rise of data literacy and bioinformatics. Biology isn't just about observing and describing anymore. It's about analyzing. Students today need to understand data, interpret patterns, and even work with bioinformatics software, just like we analyze what we catch on the island or study villagers' preferences. Biology students are using real-world data sets. They're learning how to analyze DNA, track animal populations, and make sense of complex biological data. So what does this mean for classrooms? Teachers now have to shift from teaching just concepts to teaching data skills, and that's a big leap. Many are learning how to introduce data tools to students who are then better prepared for careers in science, technology, and even medicine. The outcome? Students get hands-on experience with real data, making their learning more engaging and relevant. They're not just learning facts, they're solving problems just like scientists. Next up, let's talk about environmental science and sustainability. Now more than ever, biology classes are connecting students with the big questions of our time: climate change, conservation, and sustainability. Just like we care about keeping our Animal Crossing island clean and balanced, students today are exploring how to protect biodiversity, understand ecosystems, and reduce human impact on the planet. For teachers, this means incorporating topics that really resonate with students' lives and the world they're growing up in. It's not just about reading from textbooks. It's about analyzing real-world environmental data and exploring solutions. Some schools even have students participate in citizen science projects, tracking birds, studying water quality, and mapping biodiversity in their own communities. This shift can be powerful for learning outcomes because students see biology as something they can apply to real-world problems. It makes biology feel meaningful, and that inspires a whole new level of engagement. Last, but not least, let's talk about biotechnology. With innovations like CRISPR and gene editing, high school biology is getting a serious upgrade. These topics can be complex, but they're also the future. From curing diseases to creating sustainable crops, students are learning how gene editing and genetic engineering work and what that means for society. This area of biology isn't just about learning the science, but also understanding the ethical questions. What's okay to change? How do we balance benefits and risks? Teachers are finding ways to incorporate simulations of gene editing and discussions about ethics. It's about preparing students to think critically, not just scientifically. Students who engage with biotechnology concepts are more prepared for modern science careers, and they gain the skills to tackle the big questions they'll face as tomorrow's leaders. Now, what do these trends mean for educational practices overall? Teachers are adapting their lessons, incorporating technology, and creating projects that help students think like scientists. Policymakers are starting to recognize the need for funding in STEM, ensuring schools have resources for technology and lab equipment. Even parents and community members are getting involved, supporting schools and encouraging students' curiosity. However, just like our Animal Crossing island has its ups and downs, the world of biology education has some big obstacles too. What could they be? Well, let's talk about it. First up, limited access to resources and technology. Not every school has high-tech labs or the latest equipment. Some students don't even have internet access at home, making it hard to keep up with online learning or research. This can create a huge gap in what students learn, depending on where they go to school. Without the right tools, it's tough to teach things like genetics or bioinformatics. Students are missing out on experiences that could inspire them to become scientists or doctors. Next, keeping up with scientific advances. Biology is moving fast. New discoveries are made every day, especially in genetics and biotechnology. Teachers have to work extra hard to stay updated and bring these fresh ideas into the classroom. It's a lot to keep up with, and many schools don't have the resources for constant curriculum updates. That means students might not be learning about the latest breakthroughs like gene editing or synthetic biology, which are super important for future science careers. Finally, there's the challenge of engaging students. Not everyone is naturally interested in biology, and if it feels too abstract, students might not see why it matters. Teachers have to find ways to make biology relevant, like showing how it connects to things like climate change or health. That takes creativity and a lot of planning. When students can connect biology to their lives, they're way more likely to stay engaged and learn something meaningful, but it's not always easy to find those connections. So, those are the major challenges in high school biology: access to resources, keeping up with new science, and keeping students engaged. It's not easy, but with support from the community and creative teaching, schools can keep inspiring the next generation of biologists. These changes are shaping students into critical thinkers, data literate citizens, and problem solvers. They're building skills that are relevant not just for tests, but for real life, whether they become scientists, doctors, or informed citizens. They'll carry this knowledge forward. So, whether it's through technology, hands-on projects, or lessons that reflect students' lives, high school biology is evolving. These changes make it more accessible and exciting for everyone, and they're helping create a new generation of curious, capable scientists. Thanks for coming along on today's biology adventure. Let us know in the comments what your favorite part of biology class is, or if there's something new you'd like to learn. See you next time.